your screen.
Okay, what screen do you see?
Slide 2 of 24.
What are human skills?
Yeah, see, I am having. Yeah, my Zoom has flipped around the screens, and I have not been able to do this. So I'm always one slide ahead from where I want to be. Anyway, so we're skipping the cover slide, which says, what are human skills and leadership skills? And so today, what I'd like to do is I'd like to give you an introduction into what these skills are. So it's an overview. And then as of next time, we're going to delve into particular areas within those competencies. But I just thought if I give you an overview, then you can give me topics as well. You can say, oh, I'd really like to find out more about this. And is there anything else that you can tell us about that? So human skills, has anybody got an idea what human skills are?
Yeah, communication skills, interpersonal communication skills.
Yes.
Soft skills.
Soft skills, exactly. So they are the ones that help us become more effective and build better relationships with others. They're the skills we are supposed to have, but nobody really teaches us. But we're all operating through them. So they are really essential for any kind of success that we want to have both in personal and professional life. Okay, so why are they so important? Well, we live in a 24/7 disconnected world where people are operating through, even in bed, they use their devices. And I have seen people sit at a table and talk to each other through their phones. And we need these human skills more than ever because we are disconnected and we thrive on connection. Oops. So the other thing is we've become human doings. We've forgotten what it's like to be a human being. And so we're just all about efficiency and getting things done. And so bringing it back to the human connection is really important. Also, we have more and more AI. So we're outsourcing more and more of the so-called difficult stuff to AI. And we're no longer connecting as people, but we're connecting with prefabricated scripts and that are not really reflecting who we are authentically. And then, of course, we unconsciously pass on all of those patterns that we have learned from generation to generation. So we don't really think about how we communicate and how we do all of these things. I can't tell you how many people I have talked to who said, I never wanted to be like my mother/father. Bummer. Because that was the only model they had. And so therefore they repeated that. And the same goes for leadership, obviously. If I work with a certain boss for a certain time, I'm going to start modeling that boss and I'm going to start doing the same things that they did. So the reason why I'm so interested in this is because when you look at the cultural iceberg, a lot of the things that we do are above the surface, but all the stuff that really matters in how we interact are underneath the surface. So they are totally unconscious. And more than 90% of what we do is unconsciously driven. So the way in which we handle emotions, in which we make decisions, all of that, that's automatic. We just operate through those. So my goal is to help you uncover what's underneath the surface so that you can gain more competence and more clarity around that, and that the consequences are absolutely brilliant. It reduces stress, creates better relationships, connections, both at home and at work. Okay, where do I get these skills from? I have been my personal self-development for over 40 years, and I've been working with people for over 27. So I'm constantly developing myself. I have my own coach, and I think that we're always work in progress and we can always get better. Does that mean you have to unravel everything and deep dive and go back into your relationship with your mother? Occasionally that's a useful thing, right, Neville? But sometimes you don't need that if you want to build a future. And if you're as a leadership business owner, you want to build a team. But knowing who you are is really, really important. Okay, so are we up to recognizing emotions?
Yep.
Great. Okay, so the first practice is you need to know how you feel. Everything starts with emotional awareness because it allows you to change or expand your your state. So if you're in a negative state, you can shift out of that. And if you're in a more positive, joyful state, you can actually enhance that. But if we don't know how we feel, well, then we pretty much operate on automatic and we get it stressed out. We go into fight flight mode. We react rather than respond. And so therefore managing emotions is really important so that we can self-regulate to make better choices and create better outcomes. Because if I let my brain, my amygdala and all of those automatic parts take over, well, that's when I hit the button and respond all and send off the email. And 5 minutes later, I go, oops, maybe you shouldn't have done that. So if you know how to manage your emotions, it makes a really big difference. I had a plumber here this morning to fix some hoses in the bathroom, and he managed to flood the whole thing. We're talking everything was flooded. The drawers were full. I have to remove everything. And so I said to him, well, it's probably not what I wanted, but it gives me an opportunity to clean out everything and look what I still needed. And he looked at me and he said, how can you stay so calm and patient? I'm like, why not? Doesn't really make any difference. And then I gave him my card because he wanted to send me the invoice. And he said, all right, okay, I get what you do. Okay, so managing needs, something we often don't talk about. For every emotion we have an attached need, and for every need, we have an attached emotion. So they either feel really good. If our emotions are pleasant, our needs are generally not met. And when we feel really, we have pleasant emotions, our needs are being met. So I have the garden hose. By the way, this is a picture language that I have developed. So anything that is yellow works really well. Everything that's gray doesn't work so well. And sometimes you'll see T-shirts going from gray to yellow or from yellow to gray. And that means people either resetting themselves or getting sucked into fog. So I call that sunshine and fog. Those are the words that I've got. It's just a simple language to show. Okay, maintaining boundaries, something people find really difficult because we are so connected to each other and we want to connect that we give up the ability to say, no, I really don't want to do that okay, if you really want me to. We get guilt tripped. We make decisions that we really don't want to make. So maintaining boundaries means to be able to say yes and really mean it, and say no and be really firm about it, and be able to have a discussion maybe with the person why we say no, but not cave in immediately and be guilt tripped. Focusing attention, managing listening skills. Our ability to focus is going down, down, down. And so people don't really listen with focus anymore. And so a lot of information gets dropped out. So you work with somebody and they come to you and they say, so what we talked about, and you may say, can't really remember. I was so busy talking on my phone or typing on my computer while you were talking to me. So what this does is we build connection and trust, and we create much better outcomes because we don't have to go back 5 times and say, by the way, I still need that information. And could you please help me? Self-care, highly underrated. It's not just water, food, and sleep. There's much, much more involved in that. And so being able to know what you need in order to take care of yourself reduces stress and creates more stability. And this is the whole thing about you can't pour from an empty cup. But people, especially when they're in leadership roles and when they're taking care of people around them, they forget that they need to take care of themselves as well. And my experience is that often people go on holiday, if they go on holiday, and they get sick on the first day, because the immune system finally goes, yes, I can finally get out of stress mode. So I will make sure that you stay horizontal and fix things up. Then the ability to engage with empathy. So this is the ability to manage task and relationship focus. A lot of people get really focused on task efficiency, especially on online meeting. I see this all the time. People barely have time to say, hi, how are you going? They immediately go into, and then we need to do this. And the importance is that it's the respect and the understanding. When we don't connect to people as human beings, when things go wrong, as they inadvertently will, it's really hard for people to maintain the relationship. And that's why people walk away. Ghosting is people's favorite way of dealing with any kind of issue. I just, poof, I'm gone. People change jobs. 42% of people change jobs every 1 or 2 years. That's a lot of turnover. So when you know how to balance that, when you can engage with somebody and build that trust and that connection, people will stay around much longer. So being able to shift your perception. We get very much stuck in ego, in being right, and knowing what I want. And with social media and algorithms polarizing us more and more and more, we get into that place of I'm right, you're wrong. And it can actually really create a toxic culture, because people are just they just get to that place of, I don't want to agree with you. And when you've got the flexibility to see different viewpoints, and you can see something from another person's viewpoint, especially as a leader, and you have team members who show up and are willing to shift, to challenge you as well in a constructive way, you create massive output. People will step up and they will work with you in a far more efficient way. Then the ability to reset emotions. There are a lot of leaders I have experienced who throw temper tantrums. For men, it's often, and I'm sorry to say that, they are powerful. Men get away with it. They're just being assertive. Women are generally called very much more unpleasant words. So the idea to be able to manage emotions in such a way that it doesn't spill over into the relationships that you have with people you work with and at home, obviously, makes a really, really big difference. So I've got some tools that will really help you reset those, and I'll share those with you over time. The ability to have difficult conversations, it's an art form. People do not generally know how to have that conversation, when what it really is, it's an opportunity to enhance a relationship. But a lot of people go, this is just too difficult. And again, we come to this place of not feeling good enough, or not knowing how to address this. And when you know how to do this with confidence, you will find that what you think is a difficult conversation can actually be a really, really useful connection maker. And it can enhance a relationship massively. And what it does, it builds predictability, because when somebody knows how you deal with the difficult situation without yelling, screaming, shouting, leaving the room, becoming unavailable, or whatever it might be, when they have that predictability that you can manage your emotions and have that discussion, they will step up, they will start taking risks, you'll be able to delegate better, because you will know that they will know that when they take a risk, you're not going to come down on them like a ton of bricks. And then if you do, then you'll be able to talk to them about that. We don't celebrate. When we give feedback, it's generally from a not good enough place. So this is for any being, be it small or be it big. I mean, I don't know about you, but I grew up with, why is it an A-? Why was it not a straight A? My parents thought that they were encouraging me to become better by pointing out that I had not quite achieved this. I'm all in favor of failing. Failing is wonderful. It's a great experience, but we need to celebrate success. We need to celebrate achievement, so that we can create a culture where people can step up and they can actually make things work. So that, again, as a leader, you get to go home at work at night and leave work at work. So very quickly, what is leadership? These are mine. It starts with leadership. It includes a willingness to be challenged and grow. So the mindset is absolutely crucial. If you think that you've got it mastered and that you're the right thing, people around you are probably not going to be able to deal with that, because especially the younger generation has an opinion or two about that. Your goal is always to make yourself redundant, but not irrelevant. So I have had clients who've absolutely had panic attacks when I told them that. And I said, well, how can you be working on the bigger goals if you are constantly micromanaging? And then, of course, your primary job is, your goal is to create new competent leaders. So these are some of the leadership competencies. I'm not going to read them all out, but these are some of the things that I want to address over the next few weeks, and talk to you more about what is involved in having these, and maybe provide you with some information you may find useful. And thank you for your attention. I've got an emotional productivity quiz on my website, which has a complimentary debrief session attached to it. So please feel free to visit and book in and find out how your human skills are. And I might be able to give you some pointers, what you do well and where you can do even better. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much, Angela. First of all, can you make sure you put the link to your quiz inside the chat box as well, so everyone can see that?
Is already.
Excellent. Okay, who's got some questions for Angela? Just put your virtual hands up, please. Okay. Well, as far as you mentioned, Neville, that'll teach me to look away for a moment.
Yeah, sorry. Just out of curiosity, Angela, is there a difference? Like I'm in a very, very small business. I don't have staff. I don't have a team. The interpersonal skills, how I guess how transferable are some of the things that you work with around teams and that in these very small business environment?
Oh, they start with you. So all of these skills apply to you as well, how you deal with yourself, but they are relevant for every person in your life. So whether you deal with your partner, your children, your the people your customers. Sorry, I set myself a reminder so I wouldn't go over time. The people, again, your suppliers, you know, again, plumbers who come and visit you. You know, so these are all skills that everybody needs, and we need them more than ever. So it doesn't, I have worked with people who are solopreneurs. I have worked in organizations with thousands of people. They are always the same skills. It's taken me 25 years to actually put them together in such a way that they work in every kind of context. The skills.
Hence the whole thing about being human and being a human, whatever context you're in.
Yeah.
As they say, even though you work business to business or business to customer, every interaction is human to human. You need that. Sigrid.
I just want to say, Angela, it was great to hear that it was very thorough and practical, and it was just, there's no questions, you've answered them virtually all. And I'm looking forward to hearing more in the coming weeks from you. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Chris.
Here. That was great, Angela. And it reminds me of a quote that I use a lot about leadership. A survey that says communication is the skill considered most critical for effective leadership. It's also deemed the skill in need of greatest improvement in the majority of businesses. And that's a scary thought, but it's so true. And the human aspects of communication through IT, etc., is really critical. And I focus on that a lot, and trying to find ways of keeping it human in the AI world and the IT world is a really big challenge, and convincing people that it is important in the first place is a really big challenge as well. So thank you very much. That was great.
And then you have to also take into consideration that we work more and more online.
Yeah.
And Alan will be able to tell you that it creates real difficulties because we can't see the whole person.
That's right.
You know, it's like we're constantly adding in information that we can't really perceive. I mean, if I just have my arms underneath the table and I gesture down here, you know, nobody can see it. Body language is such an important part of how we communicate.
Absolutely critical. Yes, indeed. Yeah.
You know, as they say, the soft skills are quite easy to once you get your head around them, but they're the hardest thing for people to realise they need.
Yeah.
So thank you for that, Dr. Chris. Jay.
Look, first of all, I want to say thank you, Angela, for coming as part of team. I'm not on mute, am I? No, there you go. What Angela doesn't know is I actually read a lot of the stuff that she puts up. You know, she thinks, he's money, and he just ignored. No, I do read a lot of the stuff, and there's a couple of people in the room that know me quite well. And then know, and this might come as a shock, I'm actually an introvert, and I'm actually a recluse. But when I come on here, I shine, and I've had stages in the last few years where I've come on here and I just can't be bothered, and I think I've shown in my face that I can't be bothered. And so I've read a lot of the stuff that Angela's put out there, and I've gone, shit, I need to turn up. It's only for half an hour. I just wish we could take what Angela actually talks about and get the bloody millennials to do it. Yeah, because they've got no clue. They cannot interact. It's my kids. I want to punch my kids, but I go to jail, and it's not fair. All right, I think I should. My dad used to punch me. He never went to jail, mind you. He was always in and out of jail, but that's a different story, right? But yeah, just if you get a chance to follow Angela on her socials and her YouTubes and all that, seriously, guys, watch it, because it makes a difference, and it allows me to when I have a meeting to be switched on and whatever, and then I can go back to being the go away, leave me alone person when I don't have to talk to people. It's really good.
Yeah, well, now that Jay has said that, I'll turn the recording off so we can.
Oh, shit.